What's up, Inhumans? I am back with a review of the first episode of Ms. Marvel, the new Disney Plus show. And I have been pretty excited about this. This was in the new batch of Disney Plus shows that was announced, I don't know, last year or something like that. And this was my second to most excited series that was announced. I was most excited about She-Hulk, because I've been waiting for She-Hulk since, I don't know, 1980, for God's sakes. And Ms. Marvel actually isn't even that old as a character. 2014, 2015? And I'm very excited to see, because I've been reading since issue 1, and I've been very happy to see how this character's really taken off over the last 8 years, 9 years? I haven't even been a decade yet. So this has been pretty exciting. So, here's going to be some random thoughts, and if I can, I don't know, keep at it, I'll see if I can do a review every episode. Don't count on it, I'm not the best and most reliable at this stuff. So, hey, let's go. The show, and let's see. Of course, there was some controversy with mostly Ms. Marvel fans. People aren't familiar with the character, really didn't really talk about it that much, but they had altered the powers, and I'll get into that a little bit. I did keep an open mind, even though I wasn't totally pleased, but I'll get into that a little bit further. So anyway, the show, I think, really starts off with the ending of a YouTube video by Kamala Khan, and she is a fangirl of the Avengers, particularly Captain Marvel, of course. And let's see. You get the sense that she's getting ready for this Avengers Con thing that is supposed to be coming out. It's supposed to be the first convention celebrating the Avengers, and she's worried about her parents letting her go because they think it's a party. They don't quite get it, and she lives in a pretty conservative, not too conservative, kind of the average, religious conservative, immigrant, family. So they're trying to kind of raise her the way they think she be raised, and she's a little bit more awkward and weird to them, and they love each other, but they don't quite get each other, if that makes any sense. So I really love the aesthetics of this. It does remind me quite a bit of Scott Pilgrim, maybe a little bit toned down a little bit, where you get to see her imagination and her thoughts, and you can maybe even make a case that she's probably ADD or something like that. She can't even pay attention to her guidance counselor for 2 seconds before wandering off somewhere. What was really cool, there's some sequences where the comic breaks up in the show breaks up in panels. There's a scene in particular where she is talking to her guidance counselor, and she is just not listening, and the screen separates, much like how you would use in a comic panel when you want to create distance between two characters that are right there having a conversation. And I don't see that often done in film, that same kind of technique you use with panels, because you can use comics in a different way to express different ideas, but this episode kind of does a decent job using comic book language. There are scenes where she and Bruno are bicycling through the street, kind of talking about ideas. They're spitballing ideas for her Captain Marvel cosplay, and the imagery of what they're talking about is appearing in the background in the graffiti on the buildings. It's actually a really gorgeous shot. The way it's shot, it's really kind of unique compared to a lot of the other Marvel films and Disney Plus shows. It doesn't have the same kind of stock style that some of the films and shows do. So they definitely use this kind of uniqueness. And there is a lot of that youth culture that you've seen in the Spider-Man movies, I think, done up to 11 in this, because I guess some of the actors are actually a little bit closer to teenage years, and this character in real time isn't really a teenager yet. Like I said, she was created in 2014, for God's sake. She's not even 10. So this is a very youth-centered character. So Yeah, her parents like try to figure out, but it has to be under strict circumstances with their control. And Dad goes with her dressed as the Hulk in an adorable gesture. And I'll get to the parents in just a second. But it's I'm gonna go to my first con in a different cosplay, pulled around by my dad. That doesn't sound like a really appealing thing. So that kind of like does a split between the two, and she's not going. And then she comes up with this, I don't know, very sitcom-y kind of like scheme. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like set up the the computer, and it's gonna have like the sort of, it has the that, what do you call that kind of like Alexa, that kind of Alexa thing to kind of help trick her parents and think she's in a room the whole time. And they go out, and she uses this bracelet that was her grandmother or great-grandmother's, and it was in the attic kind of like collecting dust. She puts it on, and it does this energy charge for her. And this is something I'll get into when we talk about the powers. She starts using these powers to her surprise, and they are more energy based, but they also kind of like energy stretch and shit like that, where she saves Zoe. And she actually there's an interesting thing about Zoe where she kind of like has that awkward meeting with her earlier where Zoe's like, seems like she thinks she's kind of a weirdo, and then she sees Zoe like also cosplaying as Captain Marvel. And what I think is interesting is like Zoe is a white blonde woman and cosplaying as Captain Marvel, her big hero, and there's this very subtle take to Kamala where she feels like she is slightly discouraged into going into the cosplay contest with her because Zoe is a white blonde woman and she is not. And it definitely has that like reinforcement of you can't do this, you can't be like this other hero. It's that kind of like discouraging like thing that she kind of experiences, and she mentions earlier in the episode actually, like brown girls from Jersey don't really save the world or anything like that. And this kind of reinforces that feeling again, which I think is a really interesting way to use Zoe in that scene. Because let's face it, like Carol Danvers, Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, they're very white chicky, and you can definitely see where that possibility would like enter her head. So she puts the bracelet on, and it does something interesting. The bracelet in the comics has no power; it's just a bracelet. This seems to unlock something that's in her, and this is where I'll get into the powers, where, yeah, I'm a little frustrated they didn't use the powers, but I have this feeling that her stretch powers would be very expensive to pull off believably, and the MCU gets a lot of crap for its CG, so I guess they don't want to tempt fate on that. If you put a glow thing around her, that's a lot cheaper to do, and I know that, like, Elasti-Woman, I think, in Doom Patrol, they have a lot of, like, she has a stretchy effects. But keep in mind, she doesn't stretch often in the show. She's part of an ensemble show, so she keeps trying not to do it. Kamala is the lead character of your show, and she does it all the time. So I think that's aesthetically a choice. And let's see, she does save Zoe. Now, let's see. Now, what I think is interesting is, I think they probably knew that this would be an issue, and I think in the writing, they do something interesting where it's kind of a mystery. Like, okay, like, it's not like in the comics where it was explained, pretty thoroughly, and it was part of this big initiative that they were doing in the Avengers books. So you understood what happened to her. Now, even fans don't know what specifically is going on. Is she getting the power from the bracelet, or did the bracelet, like a battery, kind of charge what was ever in her body in the first place? And we have that nice, wonderful moment where she kind of falls into a different dreamlike world where these spooky things are like staring at her, and then she falls back into the reality of the convention. And like, is that supposed to mean like, are these like Inhumans, or what's going on? Are we still going to do the Inhuman thing? Because hey, Black Bolt shows up in Doctor Strange, so they still exist in her universe. Or, by the way, this would be hilarious, as if they decided to flip the script and she's a mutant. That would be funny. I mean, they totally could do it. It's a new continuity. It's the MCU. It's a different thing, so we could totally do that. That would be kind of interesting. Or maybe like a third possibility. I don't know. So that actually, they're kind of making lemonade out of lemons, and I'm kind of interested in see where they go with that. As far as like acting, I think everybody is top notch. Everybody's doing some wonderful acting. I really enjoyed the parents a lot, and there's that scene where she comes home and she's caught by her mother, and it's really wonderfully written and acted because she's caught by her mom, and her mom doesn't explode with anger and anything like that. She does the worst possible thing. She does the quiet disappointment thing. And it's kind of devastating. She has this little speech about, kind of like questioning if she's good or not, and, if you're going to choose what you want to be. And then she leaves thinking she really, messed with her. And Kamala is kind of discouraged, or at least kind of affected by that, but she realizes she still has this power, and she's like, I think I'm gonna maybe choose this. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. I am mostly happy with it. I do kind of have a couple quibbles with it. I don't think there's enough tension between her and Zoe at the beginning. There's some awkwardness, but it's not really all that much. I think it could have been a little bit stronger. Of course, with the powers thing, of course, I would have preferred, the powers to be the exact same way in the comics, but hey, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this, so I'm not, completely turned off by it. So I think I would give this first episode for strong 4 out of 5 red chips. I think it's a really good, strong start. I really enjoy the look and feel of this show. All the acting is really great. The writing is kind of fun. And oh, hey, I forgot to mention, one of the things I really liked about it is we are actually in this show getting to see how the Avengers and the other Marvel superheroes have affected culture within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you live in the MCU, okay, what's the culture like? And you get to see how it's kind of affected. And I think in this universe, it's just as old as ours. Everything started in 2008 or the 90s, but people didn't get to meet Captain Marvel. That was all kind of a secret. It really did start in 2008 for this universe, or the 40s with the Captain America. But you get to see how people are affected. Hey, there's conventions and people debate and argue about this thing. Kamala has argued with people online about Captain Marvel with other creeps. So I'm really interested to see kind of that, because the Marvel comics do this all the time within their pages, but you don't really get to see that done within film versions of these characters, as well as DC. I think DC has done this a little bit in some of their films, but not as strong as Marvel, because to be honest, that's always been kind of a Marvel thing, is this self-referential thing. And now the MCU is old enough to really kind of do this, so that's a lot of fun. So yeah, like I'm saying, 4 out of 5 Ram chips. Really enjoyed the first episode, and I'm going to definitely be continuing watching this. And if I can get my bearings together, maybe I'll be able to do a review of each and every episode as we go. I was going to do this with Moon Knight and every other show that they've done, and I've kind of gotten lazy and not done that. So I'm going to try and keep this shit up. We got She-Hulk coming up, and we got more Miss Marvel, so I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Hey, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not? Have you not seen it yet? I don't know why you would comment if you hadn't seen it yet. So, hey, leave a comment below. Don't forget to click the notification bell, hit subscribe if you haven't already, to Manos. You can watch me everywhere. Everywhere! I am on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Tumblrs. I also got a TikTok where I'm at Justin Cristelli at TikTok, where I talk about pretty much the same shit for less time. So isn't that fun? So, hey, I'm going to get going, so push the button, Lindsay.